Happy New Year! On today's show, I want to talk about 2026 business goals that you might have and my goals that I have for this year. And, um, you know, small business owners, quick reality check. Most staff drama isn't personality, it's missing HR basics. Today, on Monday, HR Madness, we're talking about the stuff that quietly blows up teams, unclear expectations, weak onboarding, and the paperwork you wish you had when something goes sideways. And I'm also giving you 2 HR tools you probably aren't using yet, but should. If you want fewer headaches and more grown-up workplace vibes, grab your tea and let's fix your Monday in this January 5th, 2026 episode. Of course, my name is Ian Hopfe, and you're watching Ian the HR Pro live podcast, where I'm dangerously unscripted. So 2026, I hope everyone had a good stretch of some holidays over the end of December. I know some of us, we work harder this time of year. We pull in extra shifts, we bring in some OT, we work Christmas Day, we work Christmas Eve, we work Boxing Day, we work New Year's Eve, we work New Year's Day, and we're making that good money, but, we're missing time with our friends and family, our children, maybe even. So, it's nice, but it's hard at the same time. Some of us depend on that overtime. We depend on the stat holiday pay to make it, to make the month. But maybe, just maybe, on those months where we get a little bit of stat pay, maybe we get a little ahead. We hope. And I hope you all have that ability to do that. And it's so hard, especially for a small business owner. Oh my God, I basically shut down my business for 2 weeks over the holidays. My wife had time off her job, so I really wanted to spend time with her. I guess I had that ability, I had that privilege because she has a great job with great benefits and time off and things like that. And I wanted to spend time with her because I miss my wife. I had to drive her into work today, and I'm working from home as I always do. And it's just kind of sad. I forgot the backlight. Let's see how that looks. Oh, yeah. It's been 2 weeks since my last live. And the last time we did a live on HR was, I think, December 8th, because Mondays kept having their stuff going on in December. Earl Grey tea. So, 2026 business goals. Now, we talk about our personal goals, our New Year's resolutions. What about your business resolutions? What are you doing? What's your plan? We like to say things like, I want to make this much money this year in my business. Okay, that's great. But that's your pie in the sky goal. That's your vision goal. I want to make X amount of money. Okay, great. But what's your mission for that goal? How are you going to achieve that goal? And you got to come up with something. I'm going to work more hours, or I'm going to work more on my advertising or my marketing or whatever, right? This is more mission stuff, more things that you're physically doing, right? The goal is to make more money. The strategy and the tactics are things that you're kind of separating out The goal is to make more money. The strategy, make more money doing what we're doing, or make more money starting something new, right? And if it's doing something you're currently doing, well, what are the specific tactics? Last year we did this. This year we're going to try something new, or we're going to add on to what we started last year, right? There's kind of this work your way down through this situation. And we normally don't think of stuff like that. But last fall, was it fall? I think it was the last week of August. I committed myself with my business to start going live every weekday that I can, and posting 3+ pieces of content every day, and even trying to do it on the weekends. And it's been hard. I don't always get a chance on Saturday and Sunday to post content. So now, here's an interesting thing. So I am using right now how I'm doing this right now, streaming live. I'm using, and I've talked about this before, I'm using an AI enabled program called restream.io. That's the link there if you want to use something like this. So I'm able to stream whenever I want, right? So I'm doing those 5 live streams during the business days, and it's going to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter X. So I'm streaming live right now to 5 different platforms, 5 days a week on a good week. Right? And I have started chopping up my lives into smaller pieces so that I can create long form content. Okay, so on YouTube, you have your shorts, aka reels. That's the vertical videos. You have the regular videos, and then you have your live streams. So I've been really covering the live streams and the clips that restream.io creates for me from each live stream. I'm able to put those up on my socials, including YouTube. YouTube I'm kind of using as my main location for all this stuff. So, but I've been neglecting my videos. And I just had the epiphany here when I said, oh, interesting. Since I'm having trouble posting on Saturday and Sundays, I've decided that I'm going to the videos when I do my live stream. I download the full video, and then I use iMovie on my Mac to chop it up into shorter. So I'm basically taking each segment that I talk about, and I create a short video. Usually I want it to be between 8 and 12 minutes. Some of them I tend to rant a little bit, so I'm like looking at 30 minutes, right, where I'm on one topic. So I edit that, I take out my coughs and my drinking the tea and things like that. And so I'm able to edit these videos. From each live stream, if I have good topics, I could have like 4 or 5 videos. And I couldn't decide which day to put them on until just now, when I thought, oh, I'm having difficulty doing Saturday and Sunday. So I think I will start doing 2 videos a week on Saturday and Sundays. Then I'm getting at least 1 piece of content on each of those days. And I don't have to worry about, and I can pre-schedule them once I edit out the 4 or 5 little videos from each live stream, I can put them on Saturday and Sunday. Oh my God, genius. Oh, why didn't I think of that? See, sometimes you really got to get out there, get out of if you're going to run your small business. And I know this really isn't HR stuff today, but I wanted to talk about your small business goals before we get into HR stuff. And I think what I've got planned is pretty good. So on the weekdays, I can do my live stream and my shorts. I usually try to put like 3 short reels in each day along with my live stream. And then on Saturday and Sunday, I will post a new video. And that's it covers a whole week, and it allows me to do 2 videos per week. So I'm kind of putting out a lot of content. And I think with my goal this year of, stepping up my marketing, basically over the last, since the end of August, so September, October, November, December, I've had 4 months of practice, 4 months of figuring out my system and what I'm doing. There's just some obvious things that I wasn't doing. So I'm doing that. And basically, I'm going to commit to this as long as I can this year. I might slow down partway through the year, or seeing if things are working or not working. I can see something, my views on the socials, I'm getting just a slightly bit more comments, a lot of them negative comments, because a lot of my shorts are taken out of content. My reels are taken, my TikToks are taken out of context because they're from the larger video, right? The live. So, yeah, I think I just figured it out. For the rest of the year, that's what's going to happen. Video Saturday and Sunday. And it takes a little bit to edit the videos, but that's not too bad. I think I can edit one of these shorts in about an hour, and that's include creating the thumbnail for YouTube and uploading it and scheduling it. And I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible. But I think for me as an HR consultant, just getting my face out there, other than tools I've purchased to help me do this, posting to social media is free. Sorry, I'm burping. So, yeah, why ain't I continuing my marketing with AI support? Essentially, I'm using it. Restream is kind of AI enabled, so there's support there. I use Canva. There's AI that I can use there to help me create the images. And of course, I'm using ChatGPT. I'm putting in my transcripts and saying, give me topics for my next video, right? Because I basically have 5 topics per week. So I feed last Monday or the previous time I did the HR topic, and I trained it to give me show notes for this week. And that's pretty cool. It really helps. I feel like I'm getting a lot done, and I feel like I'm that close, man. I feel like I'm real close to a breakthrough with my marketing, and hope something happens, like really exciting something happens in the next few months. I mean, that might be great. So that's my big marketing with the AI support. Using the AI and the specialty programs really helps. Creating this content really, really helps. If I get busy, I think I may halfway through the year, I may hire a video editor who can chop up my lives into 4 or 5 videos, and then I just gotta post them, right? I think that might be a spot where I can make it worth my while, as long as my business is making enough money to pay for a video editor. I got a new book, man. Instant Cash Flow by Bradley J. Sugars. This is the founder and chairman of Action Coach. That's a business coaching company, international business coaching company. And I'm just getting into it. It just seems pretty awesome. The big thing about this book, here it's on the back. Discover 282 marketing and sales strategy proven to make more money for you. Okay, it sounds a little bit cheesy, but so far, I haven't even really gotten into the meat and the potatoes. I'm just about to get into that whole list. And I gotta make a decision what parts of this book am I going to use with my business. Basically, you read the book, and as you walk through the book, you're deciding which one of these 282 tactics, and I call these tactics, these are the ground level things that you can make a difference on. If your goal is to make more money this year with your business, and I would say get this book, Instant Cash Flow. It's been pretty awesome so far. I've already got some ideas coming in, and I'm just like, oh, wait a minute, right? And they seem pretty simple. Some of it's simple, but some of it's going to be hard for you to implement because they seem counterintuitive. So, one example in the book, he talks about a bakery he helped. And the baker, the owner, he makes cannolis. Was it cannolis? I think it was cannoli. Some sort of little pastry. I think it was cannoli. And he sells them for like $3.50 a piece. This is probably American dollars. So $3 to $5 a piece. Turns out it only cost him about 30 cents in materials to create all these cannolis. And Bradley, the book writer, said, look, how about we just give some cannolis away? And so wherever you're doing your marketing, he'd been putting money into like the local newspaper ad or whatever, stuff like that, right? And he basically just printed a coupon that said, free cannoli on your next purchase, right? Instead of people coming in to purchase a cannoli, they are now coming in to purchase something else and get a free cannoli, which is costing the owner 30 cents. And he basically doubled his sales per sale amount. So instead of selling $3.50 cannoli, he's selling a loaf of bread and a cannoli, right? So all of a sudden he's making $6 to $8 a sale as opposed to $3 to $4 per sale. So, and that little bit, the same customers, same amount of foot traffic coming in, and possibly because of this free cannoli situation, they may return, right? So, but it seems counterintuitive that we're giving something away like that, right? And if you've got some sort of retail business or something like that, that sort of tactic is perfect for you. And I'm thinking, well, how do I make that work for my consulting business, my HR consulting business? How do I do that, right? So I don't necessarily have something free to give away. I could give away same situation, if they purchase something, I could give a discount to some other service or something like that. So I do have an opportunity to go from just a regular sale to sale plus. You're selling your product, but you're giving something extra, giving some extra value at a discount. And I think that might be something that I'm gonna look into. But 282 ideas. My God, I'm gonna spend the next couple months going through this and seeing if I can't add that to my business. Anyway, if you need a lot of ideas to jumpstart your business, Instant Cash Flow by Bradley Sugars. This link takes you to Amazon. You can purchase it there. Yes. So, where are we? So I got 4 HR topics today. Topic number 1, basically the 4th time I've spoken about AI as your HR assistant. If you're a small business owner, an AI assistant to help you do HR, to help you do marketing, to help you do whatever is going to save you a lot of time. Even I always recommend just have it do drafts for you, right? Don't depend 100% on this. If you're a small business owner, you need some sort of document, you need a policy, you need a process, get AI to give you a draft. Then you take that draft and you go meet with the few employees you have and say, what do you guys think of this? Get their input. But the time it took you to come up with that draft, 10 minutes, and then you got something solid that you can bring to your team and they can give you input. Whereas if you're trying to think of this yourself, a couple hours wasting your day when you could be doing other things to run your business, to build your business. Right? So I've talked about training your AI. So you got to train your AI like it's a new employee. Here's all the new stuff. Here's all our policies, right? All our policies, policy handbook, whatever. And you give this stuff to your new employee, right? Your vision, mission, values, the services, the tone you want to have it address you. Please be very professional with all your answers, but at a 5th grade reading level. You can throw in past transcripts for things like this live video. I do that all the time. And it learns how I talk and my mannerisms and things like that. It's pretty awesome. So your AI assistant needs to know all about your business. So you got to train it first, right? Like I said, use AI for drafts, not final answers. Get to build that draft, get your team working on it to make the changes. It's always, I don't know if you've ever trying to create your own policy or in a room of 3 or 4 people, the time and the heartache and the gut-wrenching moments to try to create that first document is very hard. If you can go into that room with a draft, that will save you and your team a lot of time. Policies, templates, checklists, onboarding plans. Oh, imagine that, right? All these sorts of HR things you can have AI help you build, because you, as a small business owner, you are an expert in your business and what you do. You may not be an expert in managing people or creating the infrastructure, the systems, the processes that will help you manage those people. So yeah, use AI. This, oh my God, this is worth have AI compare two documents. Hey AI, here's my current approved policy document on this. I'm now trying to create this document. Can you please compare and contrast to make sure this new document fits in with and does not contradict the currently approved policy document, whatever it is, right? Oh, that compare and contrast saves time. I've spent a lot of time as an HR consultant viewing two different policies and trying to make sure that they're working together. This has saved me so much time. So now I can go in and make edits to the new second document, and it just saves me a ton of time. And that compare and contrast. And it's amazing. When you're comparing and contrasting two documents, AI can't beat it. So, I mean, you can do the exact same thing for whatever topic you're lacking on. Your marketing assistant, right? You can have it help market. You're going to read this book. You're going to come up with marketing ideas. You're going to come up with all kinds of ideas on how to just everything you can do to get more business or create bigger sales or whatever, right? You're going to do that sort of stuff, but you're still going to come across things that AI can help you with, right? You are some sort of business, but you know nothing about marketing. I mean, this book has a lot of marketing stuff in it. Well, as you're waiting for this book, you can go into ChatGPT and say, hey, I need to market my convenience store. This is the type of neighborhood I'm in, or whatever, right? Like, and ChatGPT might not be perfect, but it's going to give you some ideas, and it's going to make you think of things that are way different, right? Where did the idea for me to create videos and to go live was a combination of me watching a lot of Gary Vee videos last year and chatting with my ChatGPT. I call my ChatGPT Byte. So I chatted with Byte a whole lot, and we started coming up with these different plans and things like that. As I learned new stuff, I fed it into ChatGPT and said, hey, this is what's going on. Update our plan. Yeah. Oh, my lips are dry all of a sudden. Just a second. Put some chapstick on. Very sexy. I know you weren't expecting a sexy show like that. Put chapstick. Anyway. Topic number 2 for today. This is also a continuation. This is like a part 3. That last one was like a part 4. The way we're talking about HR and our assistants, right? We talk about employee handbooks made easy. And your first handbook doesn't need to be 50 pages. Start with 3 to 5 pages that cover your biggest risks, things that you feel really be an issue. And trust me, tardiness and your employees being late is not your biggest issue. It's nowhere near your biggest issue. That's just a power micromanagement situation. You want the power to be able to micromanage your people, right? And that's no way to build trust. But anyway, when you create these simple policy handbooks, your first policy handbook, your first employee, your first couple employees, right? You can ask AI to make it more readable. So rewrite for 5th grade reading level, right? You could already have 3 to 5 pages, and you pop it in and say, hey, rewrite this because it's hard to read. And that is something that is just so convenient because everybody hates employee handbooks. You give a new employee an employee handbook and they don't read it. Nobody reads the employee handbook until there's an emergency and, shit's gone down. And now you're like, oh my God, how do we fix this situation? And everybody starts reading the employee handbook. How do you make it readable? Well, make it not legalese, university level, doctorate level document. That's not what you want. Your average employee, 5th grade reading level, man. That's where you want it. That's the conversation level, right? That's how we speak. And I kind of hinted on that, kind of making it usable, making it so that employees are interested in reading it. How do you do that, right? Add a 2-question mini quiz at the end of key sections so people actually absorb it, right? And they have to finish these questions and hand them in, right? And maybe you can come up with a quarterly quiz, different questions from the handbook, and everybody's got to answer the questions. And, well, okay, let's not just say you got to do this quiz. Let's say everybody who does the quiz gets their name in a draw for $500 every quarter, and that's all your employees, right? Yeah, they're going to do the quiz. You're going to give them a different quiz every time, so they have to look through the handbook. Amazing idea. Safety manuals. Can you imagine if they did this at construction companies or companies where safety is really important? Someone's chatting and I missed it. Spammer on Twitch. Best viewers on streamboo.com. Wah, wah, wah. Here I thought I might have had just an amazing comment. I didn't see it right away, so I don't know how long it was. Oh no, it was barely 30 seconds since they made that comment. But anyway, the quizzes. What about crossword puzzles? What about, can you do Sudokus like that? You could get some sort of word puzzles in there, and they have to complete these puzzles and or your quiz, and they get put into a draw. People are reading your stuff, reading the safety manual for your big construction company, right? Like, this is, who doesn't want to get their name in for a draw? $500, right? Say something like, if you complete it and hand it in, you get $250 if it's completed. If you get all the answers right, you get $500, right? So instead of just $250, you're getting the $500. Get creative with that. Like, your employee handbook, your safety manual, they are so, so important. Make them fun. Make them more funner. So that's, I mean, why not? Why not make it fun? Number 3. This I like to call the HR receipts system. It's kind of how how to document without becoming a paperwork goblin. Essentially, I like that because it makes me think of Dungeons and Dragons, right? The HR receipt system, the main rule with it is documenting patterns, not personalities. So, every time something happens, now, this may be in addition to your employee evaluation process. I believe all employees should be evaluated almost monthly. But you do these quick and dirty evaluations. You can watch other videos about what I mean on that. Because the yearly evaluation is just BS. Very biased, very long and convoluted. It doesn't give you the data you need. The ongoing data. So the receipt system, the HR receipt system, may be a supplement to this. If you're doing evaluations every 6 months or quarterly, that's great. Definitely don't do it yearly. You gotta do it more than yearly. But in between, it's kind of quick way to record what's going on with one of your employees. So you use a simple format. Date, what happened, the impact, the coaching and training given, and what the next step is for that employee, right? Documenting isn't punishment. It's proof of fairness and your, part of your training tracker. So I got a new employee, they come into onboarding, they do their 90 days, we decide, yeah, they're good enough, we're going to keep them. And then a lot of times we forget about them. We think they're all trained up. But you got to keep up the training. And the HR receipt program allows you to address immediate training issues. John made this mistake on this day. Ended up upsetting a customer or client. So what did I do? I spent a day training with him, or we had John job shadow our senior person in that role, and they helped him through this. And next steps for John is we might be sending him to additional training, right? That has nothing to do with John being an a-hole, or we're not trying to profile John in any sort of way. It was the situation and the training, aka the coaching, that was given for that particular situation. Because this kind of, I call it the new disciplinary process, where when an issue arises, you give training 3 times. Like if it's the same issue, you give more and more training, and you try to get them resolved on that issue before going into the disciplinary process. Like your first warning, John made this mistake 4 times, and we've given him 3 sets of training to correct it. So that HR receipt process is those corrections, those 3 training corrections. And if the employee continues to have problems with the same task, issue, then it goes into disciplinary process. And this really allows you, your organization, to look like you care about your employees, because you're trying really hard to make sure they get trained up. You have 3 different opportunities to train your employees, possibly 3 different ways, because we all learn differently, right? So the HR receipt system. I think it's so cool. Basically, once you fill out the simple little form, again, it could be half page, just like the simple employee review process that I've talked about in other videos. Half a page, date, what happened, impact, coaching or training given, and what the recommended next step is for that employee. And then that sheet of paper, it's either just going into their file or it's going into their digital file, whatever you use. If you're using an human resources information system, or if you're still using physical files, that's fine too. But it's quick. It's in there. It's in the file. And if every time you put one in, if it's the same issue, you paperclip it together. And as soon as there's 3 in there, if that same issue arises again, then you start giving the warnings. And the receipt system, quick and dirty, easy system. Thank you, Adam Cartoons. Adam Cartoons has made a comment. I was really getting discouraged last month. It was end of year stuff. I had spoken earlier in this video that I could feel something happening with my marketing and my posting on social media, but it really felt like it was just trolls and negative people. And some of my content goes into places like TikTok, mainly TikTok. I'm getting a lot of negative comments because the videos are taken way out of context because they're short from a long live like this. So, you spend 3-4 months working your butt off, and then some troll comes in and says, you're an idiot, or if we did what you wanted, the world would blow up, or, it was just terrible comments. So Adam Cartoons here. Thank you very much, Adam. Hello, man. Saw the video where you were upset a while ago. Just to let you know, don't give up, man. YouTube can be hard. Thank you, Adam. I really, really appreciate that comment. Thank you very much for posting that. It's really amazing. And if I'm feeling great and amazing because of that one positive comment, yeah, man, I feel that. Says Adam. Right, thanks for watching, Adam. That's amazing. If I can feel that good about a good positive comment, the negative comments, man, they just same thing, just at the other end of the spectrum. And it's so hard to just delete the comment and carry on, or ignore the comment, and it feels super personal for sure. And I think other small business people might feel that same negativity, that same hardship, trying to build something cool, new. Really, if the person who's making a negative comment isn't some multi-millionaire doing online marketing just like you are, I really don't think it matters. Their comment doesn't matter. They're just trolling around, right? And someone who is making a lot of money online, I think they're going to come at it from the other angle. They're going to say, hey, keep it up, man. And they may even give you some free tips. But I don't, unless they're really some real rich a-holes or something, right? Most people, I think, are going to come back and say, hey, That's exactly how I was last year, just as my business started. It was very difficult, but now I've made it, right? So thank you very much, Adam Cartoons. Thank you very much for that comment. That was awesome. Did we finish? Yeah, HR receipt systems. Yeah, we're done with that. Topic number 4 today. I've mentioned scheduling within your organization, within your business, and you can anger some employees if you're not scheduling properly, or they feel the scheduling process isn't fair. We can go to one end of the spectrum and say, this is kind of overboard to me, everybody who works here gets put in a rotation. It doesn't matter where. You're working mornings, you're working afternoons, you're working nights, you're working evenings, you're working weekends, right? If you work here, you have an equal opportunity to work all the nasty shifts, right? Like, that's one way to be fair. But it's one of those things that you could be gentler, you could win over employees, you could create some happy employees. I think we've got the problem is not having the rules set out. You've got 2 situations. One, certain people are being hired for certain things. So I'm hired as a full-time employee, or I'm hired as a part-time employee, right? The idea is to understand your employees in those roles. And you can differentiate people and their roles. Full-time employee that says, I want to work days, they might have family and friend obligations that they do in the evenings and weekends. Is this something a business needs to respect? Absolutely. Absolutely. So if you're hiring on, you have to ask them what shifts you can work, and you honor that, right? You don't hire someone and then ignore what they wanted to work and say, oh, sorry, you got to work whatever shift. Everybody works whatever shift, right? That's a terrible way to do business, man. And the big corporations, billion-dollar corporations, you know the ones, they don't care. They don't care. They might ask you that in the interview process. They don't care. They know that they can just hire somebody else who's willing to do that for them, because there's always unemployed people and always someone willing to do what they got to do to survive, right? So I say your organization, if you hire somebody, whether it's full-time or part-time, you honor their requested work times. So what does that mean for you? That means you start hiring not just for a position, but also a shift. So we are currently hiring a full-time cashier for days. Normal shift, 8 to 4, whatever it might be, right? That's a job ad. And you're just getting people that want to work those shifts. We are hiring a part-time cashier for weekday evenings. That's a job ad. We are hiring a daytime weekend cashier. That's a job ad. You are specifically hiring for shifts. Now, after they join and start working for you, you can ask people, does anyone want to move to a different shift before I start sending out the job ad for that shift, right? What's the worst shift? I don't even know what the worst shift is. Probably Friday, Saturday, Sunday nights, right? I mean, like, those are probably your worst shifts because everybody wants to be out or with family, right? If you take the care to say, we're hiring for this specific job role and shift, time of day, then, and you honor that, like I say, you can always ask, hey, everybody, we need to hire someone for Friday nights. Does anybody want to take Friday nights? If not, we're going to put out a job ad for Friday nights. Right? So that's the first part of it. You should hire people for a specific shift. Don't hire somebody and expect them to work any and every shift that you got available. That's bad form, man. That's bad form. I don't know what number 2 is. I've forgotten it. I ranted and raved for so long, I forgot what number 2 is. Yeah, the order in which you schedule shifts, right? Full-time employees get first dibs on all shifts. So if there's a full-time employee that says, hey, I would like to do the occasional Saturday also, I mean, you should let them choose it if they want, right? The full-time employee is king. Obviously, you don't want to give one person a bunch of overtime. So that's one of your rules. You have these specific rules that you create when you're scheduling for your shift scheduling. 1, you schedule for a position. 2, you need rules and you need to give priority to the full-time employee. That's just the way it is. Because you've hired a part-time employee to do part-time work. I hate wage differences. I think all employees should just be on the same pay scale, whether you're full-time or part-time, so that a part-time person is worth. I mean, if your regular cashier is making $20 an hour and your part-time cashier is making minimum wage $15 an hour here in Edmonton, I mean, and living wage is $22 an hour in Edmonton. I mean, everybody should just be making $22 an hour. It makes it worthwhile to have that part-time position, to give up my Friday evenings to go in and work, to give up my Saturdays to go in and work. Because these part-time people, chances are they have a full-time job or they've got some heavy-duty family obligations, right? Stay-at-home parent, caregiver for an adult parent or something like that, right? They do that during the week, and on the weekends the spouse is now home, so they can pick up a couple shifts while the spouse who works full-time, right? There's just so many different situations. So you need to make sure that you've got some rules in how you schedule. And I certainly would say honor full-time employees. If they're requesting extra shifts, honor that up until overtime, right? If they want to get the full 44 in for the week, fine, let them. But I mean, that's helpful because you don't need as many part-time people. If you got a lot of full-time people that want to cover more or work a little bit more. But yeah, you definitely try to keep them out of the OT situation, no overtime. That's why you get the part-time employees, right? And then they're covering evenings and weekends, and because you might be able to get some good students on the evenings, you may be able to get them stay-at-home parents. They're at home during the day, looking after the kids, and when the spouse comes home, they can pick up an evening shift now and again. And you want lots of people like that. If you have an employee who's part-time and picks up one shift a week, that's still pretty nice, because you kind of know that person, they like doing a Monday night shift. They're always going to come in for their Monday night shift. Why alienate them? Why say, oh, you also have to do a Saturday, or we got to get you up to 20 hours, or else we'll consider you someone who we're going to lay off. Why are you doing that? Who cares if somebody only works 1 8-hour shift a week, or a 6-hour shift a week, or a 4-hour shift a week, right? That's good. But you got to make sure everybody understands the rules of scheduling. Put down the rules. This is how we schedule. We give full-timers up to 44 hours. And then we give part-timers who've been with us the longest seniority. And the full-timers might also have a seniority situation, right? But you got to make sure that the rules are there. Because if you have a store manager who's given all the shifts to his buddy, and strangely that cute new employee is getting all the work, come on, or all the best shifts where there's nothing to do, you're basically just keeping the lights on. Oh, right, the rules have to be there so that they're across the board, across the whole organization, and nobody can complain. So what do we got here? I got some extra notes here. Red flags to call out. When flexible scheduling secretly means manager picks their favorite. So that's, if you see in a job ad that says flexible scheduling, I mean, that could be a real red flag, because for the most part, I don't think organizations actually have flexible scheduling. We need to have the store open at this time, or our clients are active during this time. So that's when we need to, you have a little more flexibility if they're office workers or remote workers, things like that. Yeah, they could have some flexibility, but there is still some, these are the hours of business, and don't just choose hours of business because that's the hours of business you want. Choose the hours of business based on activity. Based on when the clients are there, when the customers are there, when the store, the location needs to be open. Right? These are what you go by. So it can be a real big red flag when they say flexible scheduling. That's why at the start of this segment I said you are hiring full-time daytime. You are hiring full-time nighttime or full-time evening shift. You are hiring part-time weekends. You're hiring part-time evenings. Maybe you're hiring full-time evenings, right? Like, or full-time 3-day special shift schedules. Okay, listen to this. 3 and 4. 4-day shift and a 3-day shift. So your employee works Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That's your full-timer. But you have another full-timer who's only doing the 3 days. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So you have these 2 shifts that are kind of overlapping in the week. Whichever days it might be. Maybe it might be, going into the weekend or whatnot. But, I mean, you could come up with some fun shifts. That's up to you. Right? You don't have to be standard shifts with everybody. As long as your job ad says, I'm hiring for this job and these hours. And you hold true to that, to those hours and that type of job or whatever, right? But always give your internal people time to cover off or change their permanent shift, right? Maybe you've got someone who works maybe you've got someone who works weekdays, evenings. Monday to Friday, they work evening shifts. And now they've decided they would like to work Saturday, Sunday. And you need a Saturday, Sunday person, right? Let that person shift over first. Then you're not hiring for Saturday, Sunday. You're hiring for the weekday again, right? Evenings, right? Oh, I feel like I'm going around and around here. But anyway, so yeah, I think that scheduling fairness is a big thing. A lot of times I don't know. We get hired for a job that says flexible scheduling, and the employee thinks, oh, I'm going to have some real flexible scheduling. I can work Tuesdays during the day, Thursdays at night, and I can do the occasional Saturdays. Yay! How, as the owner or the supervisor or the manager, can you possibly schedule that person into a schedule? I mean, man, don't leave yourself open to something that is too flexible, right? You don't want to be that everybody does the exact same shifts and you get told where you work, right? You won't get the flexibility. You won't get the good people. You'll get the desperate people who aren't as good. But you certainly can't be at the other end where it's totally flexible. You work whenever you want, right? That doesn't work either. I mean, we'd have to think of some organizations that could work that way. Remote salesperson. Maybe, work whenever the hell you want. You figure out your schedule so you can start making sales, right? But in that case, I would say you are 100% commissions. So you don't get paid for your hours, so you can work whenever you want. I mean, I could have 30 of those people working for me, working whatever hours they want. I'm only paying them when they actually make a sale. So there's nothing for me to schedule, right? They're just working whenever they want. They're 100% commissions. Now, we got to start being careful. If you give them too many resources, they may be considered employees, so you do have to pay them for their hourly work or pay them enough weekly as a commission salesperson, right? So there is some situations where you could be very lenient, flexible, right? But in most situations, you're going to be somewhere in the middle. And I think a lot of the time you're going to be a little bit closer to the stricter schedules. My Ring camera just came up and said there's somebody in the alley in the back of your house. Oh, it's a dog walker. That's okay. I guess I'll let them walk by in the alley. Anyway. So, get that schedule in there. And I know as a small business owner, we are not all HR experts. So that's why I have my $7 ebook. You can find it in the links up in the top corner. If your workplace has drama, it's usually because expectations are fuzzy and problems aren't handled early. My $7 ebook, How to Stop Staff Drama in 5 Days, is the quick start guide for small businesses or small business owners who don't have any HR person on payroll, right? Every small business, you need to get to about 75 to 100 employees before you could really afford to have a professional HR person. So save a bit of money, get my $7 ebook, and that will help you get your HR rolling, right? I'll throw the link in here. Thought I had it. I might not have the link. Ah, here it is. So here's a more direct link, so you don't have to go through my my Linktree, which is always in the top corner. This is the link here. Should pop up in some of the chats, at least. The QR code's right here. How to stop staff drama in 5 days. This is a good little start. That's all it is. Let's start. If you're a small business owner, 5 to 10 employees, this is going to help you stop that staff drama. If you need more support, the book tells you how to get a hold of me. So, yeah. I think that's it. I hope everybody had a chance to think about their goals starting off this year. And hey, if you've got some goals, let us know in the chat. Maybe we can talk about them next show, next Monday, or the next show. Maybe I'll talk about them tomorrow. I don't know. Anyway,